Welcome back to our little homestead where we are giving you more prepper tips. And today's prepper tips is how to create a store-like pantry and how to stay organized.
Hi, it's Janie Pendleton here on our little homestead. We want to welcome you back. Came back just like I said I would. This is a great little guide to pick up, and it's got like your little chart on here. This is great if you're an EMS, ambulance driver. This is what they hand out when they were teaching mass casualty medicine. This would be in like the little pocket book, the little quick flip. And this is just a great guide to have. Okay, show it up close. It's a great guide to have in your preps. Okay, the 91B. Use that as a reference guide. Now my favorite book that I have here is the Ultimate Survival Medicine Guide. All right, we just discussed this. It's emergency preparedness for any disaster, and it's by Joseph Alton. That's A-L-T-O-N. Joseph Alton, M.D. Anyway, right there's a picture of it, and it's by Skyhorse Publishing, Inc. That's Skyhorse Publishing. And you can pick that up when you need to. That's a really good. That's the book that I take with me in my vehicle whenever we're doing bug out training exercises, okay? And I think we'll probably do a bug out training exercise this year. I think that would be a really good idea. But you, Papa?
Sure.
Yeah, he's game. He's asleep behind you still. All right. So I promised you we would come back and we would talk about set your clocks, check your stocks. Set your clocks, check your stocks. And at the end of all my stocks, I have, and I did this really quick, but this usually hangs up at the end of one of my aisles of my home grocery store, my little home grocery pantry store. And it's the actual layout of my favorite grocery store. So I lay out my pantry the same way. It just makes it easier for me to remember where to go get everything. And I mean, think about it. If I have several aisles, that I know that I'm laying out the food in the same way. So I might do my dairy or my freezers back here. I know that the new house will probably have access to cold storage underneath the back porch. So we'll probably make the cold storage room and vegetable room back here. So that will no longer be the vegetables in the front, it'll be in the back. But, and then my canners and all my equipment storage will be up front. So I've got one room in the new farmhouse, giving out secrets here, that's going to be an actual grocery store in our basement. And I think this is going to be really popular, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing. It's the home pantry, and it's going to be for everything from big cans of coffee to all kinds of food stores. But in this also will be our tornado shelter and all of that as well. So this way, this will all be protected in an emergency. Okay, let me talk about this real quick. Your most likely scenario is what you need to discuss here. You need to talk to your wife or your spouse, or your partner, or think to yourself, what is my most likely scenario? I live in a skyrise apartment. I live in a city, on the edge of a city. Is it Houston? Is it flooding? Last time they got kind of surrounded by floodwaters. Remember that a few years ago? My daughter got surrounded in her apartment outside of Katy, Texas. So raise your hand if you're from near Katy, Texas. So do you remember that flood a few years ago? And she had her bug out bag, and thank goodness she had fresh water because the flooding water ruined the water sources. She couldn't get back into Houston because of the flooding. She didn't even know if her apartment was still there, which it was, but the water was coming probably within 100 feet of it. And then she couldn't get into, I think it was Austin, I think, where they were going for a concert, and they all got landlocked. And then there was no hotels. Everybody had taken the hotels. So I'm not have to ask her what they ended up doing, but they did end up eating and drinking the food and the water that was in her emergency 72-hour bug out bag. And I had packed it for 2 people. They had his grandmother with them, so it was 3 people. So, but they ended up getting home within 24 hours. That was a good thing. That could have went another direction because they were landlocked. I mean, they could not landlocked. They were waterlocked. They couldn't get out. So, and everybody was being told just to stay in the area they were in, and so they did. So that may be your deal. It could be tornadoes like it is for us. It could be a nuclear power plant leak. For tornadoes for us, it's a lot like earthquakes for us as well. We get those. We live near the Madrid fault line, so we get those. There's a bunch of new fault lines or new shaking areas this year that I'm hearing about down in Tennessee, up northwest. A lot of shaking going on, right? All right, so a lot of those people are preparing. You get shaking during rainy season and you're talking about mudslides. All right, so that's important that you prep for a mudslide. I've seen people leave their house, come back, and the mudslides block them, and you can't, it's the only road to the house. And you can't get to your house. You can't get to your supplies. So a 72-hour bug out bag, even if it's 24, 48 hours, it is necessary. And you could already get them already made, packed, and prepared. For about $199, $250, you can get one that's already prepared. It's a lot cheaper if you do it yourself. And you know your needs. And you should always keep your extra medicines with you, okay, for a few days. You should always take an extra pill bottle of medicines with you. Now, after that, what I do down in this room is, the plan is what I did before in my kitchen. Well, except this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be more organized because I'm actually going to have rooms for this, okay? So, and not everybody can do this, but everybody's going to try to, I guarantee people are going to try to fit in some pantries here and there. They're going to do it, whether it's in the garage, an exterior part of the house, under a porch where most people are dropping in their cold storage. A lot of Mormon families right now are digging up their back porches and they're building bunkers. They're building cold storage and bunkers. I know I'm selling bunkers, okay? I know. A lot of the government's buying bunkers right now. And you all know I had one, all right? So the new house, of course, is going to have one. And it's going to be off, this is going to be like the little, it's actually going to sit like this. So I'm going to come in and this opening here, this is all going to be encased in concrete and with metal beams coming across the top. And then we're just going to have basic, inexpensive shelving. You know, nothing spectacular with the shelving, nothing fancy. But it's all going to be earthquake, barred and earthquake proof. You know, what I'd like to do is I'd like to put some sliding glass doors on this so I can see through what I need, just like you would a refrigerator, but maybe take some and make some framed plexiglass, glass sliding, like barn door type things. Keep foods from falling out. Now, and you can make those track systems easy by going someplace and just getting a couple wheels off of stuff. Go to garage, well, I guess there's no garage sales right now. There will be. And then we've got another area for medical supplies because John is a surgeon, so he would be called upon. We were worried he would get called back into the Army after this since he just retired. And any war, it's possible. But so we got our medical supplies and our surgical supplies. And what we're going to do is where the medical and surgical supplies are is going to be a sliding door. And in that is going to be another small clean room. Not a pressure room, but another clean room with a drain in it. And some sort of a hose drain in that. And what we will do in there is we'll have our surgical room in that room. It's going to be a very small room. Smaller than your average surgical room. Because we don't have all that equipment that it would take. But for John, he'd need a bed, sutures, anything for emergency like that. Oxygen, things like that. So that's going to be in the medical supply room. The medical supply room is going to be near the bunker. Okay, so I've got it set up. I'm sorry about my writing. I broke the hand I write with. So basically it's going to be set up. So the freezers, like right here would be the lunch meats at Walmart, but I'm going to have my freezers and my refrigerators here separated. So, and everything's going to be on a powered generator, and we're going to do wind and solar power on the house as well. Now we won't do that right at first. We'll go back so we can pass all the inspections and get through it. But we're going to add all that on. If not at the end of construction, then sometime in that first year, we're definitely going to add on some solar and some wind power. So and keep this place going and running free off the grid. That's going to be that's what we're trying to do. Try to get off the grid. In emergency, we need to get off the grid. We already have the well, and we already have the barn for animals, all set up for animals, and we have all the water lines for the animals. So there's one stall for a horse, there's one stall for a cow, there's another stall for a calf, there's stalls for a couple of goats, and there's stalls for sheep and a stall for pigs. So we found the perfect location. I mean, we're totally blessed in finding this. All this on 5 acres. So, and the acreage beside us might come up on the market after the house is built. They're going to put that on the market, and I'm going to see if I want it. So we'll see. We'll see if I need any more land. Plus, we'll probably have to put in the pond. That's going to give us catfish and bass, which I can sell to the local eateries to make some money and to resupply myself more fish and more seed, more product, anything I need, more animals. That'll give us eggs, so my egg supply, that will actually probably get larger this summer. I'll put that video link down below on how to freeze eggs. If the links are working, if they're not, let me know down below if you don't see them, and I'll put them in the show more box. I've been having some problems there. Frozen foods and things like that. Bakery goods, you know, I make a lot of my own bakery goods, so I really didn't need a big bakery goods section, but you do need a place to store your flours, and since I'm gluten-free, now you know why I dry can rice and beans, because I actually grind that into flour. And it makes a complete protein when you cook it into a dish. And everybody here loves that kind of thing. So, and a basement also keeps that ground temperature year-round of, you know, right around between, I'm going to say 42 degrees, 45 degrees, all the way up to probably around 65, 70 degrees. So it's a great place to go if you don't want to run your air conditioner and you know, you're middle-aged, you get a little cooled off. Hey, go down there and watch, go to the home theater or something and relax, or go sew something in the basement. My sewing room's going to be down there as well. So let's see what else was there. You got the dog wash station, because the dog needs to stay clean, because it's a farm now, and for her to be in the house, I got to have her clean. So now we're going to have access, John, from outside for the dog wash. So that's going to be great. So she doesn't have to come in the house muddy now. She can go right to the dog wash and we can clean her up. I think the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. So that's how we're going to set up the grocery store on your new homestead or at the homestead you're at. You don't got to spend a lot of money on it. There's ways to figure it out. Like I said, go to Goodwills and garage sales and things like that. Find shelving, find things. Some people who have been preppers and farmers for years are passing away or moving into nursing homes or moving into town with their children, and they're doubling up during this virus. So when I'm seeing a lot of stuff on the roadside where people are being home and they're just cleaning out their garages, right? You're doing it, right? So people are just finding things to do. He's mowing our yard for us. Meanwhile, you know, we're cleaning out a garage. He'll probably take something over to him in exchange. I think bartering and trading right now is a really good idea. If you're not getting into it, go for it. And I don't mean online. I mean with your neighbors, start bartering and trading. If you've got eggs from chickens or a source to it, then exchange that. Maybe if they have a source for cow's milk or maybe some butter or something, you know. I make butter, so I can always, somebody else doesn't know how, so if they don't want to watch one of my videos and do it themselves, then maybe I can exchange that for some cupcakes. I'm in the mood. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so let me get my water. Clean water, always important. Get it out of the Berkey, okay? I know they say don't reuse these bottles, but our Berkey works, so why pay for expensive water when you can filter it? So I do suggest some sort of a Berkey filter system. And how big is ours, John? It's a 4-gallon. I think ours is a 4-gallon Berkey, I think. And that's more than enough to keep up with us and what we drink and what we cook with for at least a week, isn't it, John? Mm-hmm. You'd think it wouldn't be, but it is. All right. Let's see. Okay. So let's talk about setting your clocks and checking your stocks. Put it on your calendar. Set it on your iPhones, your Androids, whatever you've got. Put it down there to check your stocks. And you want to check them often. I'd say once every 2 weeks. Put your hand in there, have the kids help you. Check and pop up and down and just lightly press. Make sure nothing's unpopped. Make sure that you don't have an odor in there that smells like rotten potatoes or rotten meat, like a sweet rotten meat scent, like a, well, you know what it smells like a trash can smell. Make sure nothing down there smells like that, because once you get that, there's a rotten potato in the pack somewhere. You know what I'm saying? There's something in there not right, and it's usually in your tomato section. So check your canned tomato section first. It can be in a can. It can be actually in a can. I've never had a can of food go bad. Okay, I'm just saying I've never had a can of food go bad. And as far as home canned goods go, I've only had, I think I bragged about it just like that, and then I only ever had one, and then I ended up having 2 more. So I've had 3 things, and they were all, 2 green beans and 1 was a salsa. And it was because a little seed got up in there and it didn't, it happens when you're canning. So, but I caught it before it went into the pantry, and therefore I've never had anything rotten come out of the pantry except for potatoes and tomatoes that are out and strawberries. I've had strawberries way too quickly on me. So sometimes I plant more than what I can get to. And I end up either giving it away, or I end up it goes to waste, and I just get so mad at myself because my garden's so big, but there's not enough for me to go around. There's not enough canners and time for me to get them all. And I got plenty of jars and lids, there's not enough of my time. So, I'm obviously got several companies, and I'm obviously really busy, but, and as I get older, I feel like I'm slowing down, and I just don't feel like it's a craft that I just don't feel like my kids, other than my son maybe, that really want to inherit that. So, so I'm doing it for everybody, but none of them really want to help. And I tell you, there's days I want to give up, but I keep going because there's days like this virus that I know that they needed it. So, thank goodness I didn't put my canned goods in storage. I got really lucky there. I got really lucky, didn't I, Papa? I moved them last. All right, so let's talk about setting your clocks and checking your stocks. Once you've done that, okay? And I'm going to bring you down a little bit so we can get more serious. So what we found out from all of this was that emergencies happen unexpectedly. I think, and with this virus, everybody's in it together. It's not, it's not just somebody down in Florida having a hurricane, somebody down in Houston, Texas having flooding. It's not mudslides in California. It's not heavy snow, blizzard falls in Montana. This pandemic hit every state in the United States. It hit every country in the world. And I know people are going to say, oh, it was fake. But the pandemic's very real. My daughter has it. I'm announcing that now. My daughter has it. And her husband is sick with it. And it just keeps coming and going. But they're up in Chicago. And I can't be there to help them. But they're young. She's got a lower immune system, but they're living through it. She said it's one of the worst type flu she's ever had, but they're helping each other through it. There's a lot of people going through this alone, though. And I feel like she's away from Mom. She's away from me, and it bothers me. My other son's going through a low immune system issue, and his white blood cell count was up. And I was kind of going through something similar for myself. Wasn't I, Papa? So I was supposed to go and get a surgical procedure done, and I ended up having to do some things through the mail instead, and then we had to put a hold on that. So I'm lucky I'm feeling better, but that doesn't mean I'm cured. We don't even know what it was for sure. So, and the same thing with my son, he's just trying to stay away from people that are sick, but he still had to go to the hospital 2 or 3 times a day. So he's taking all these shots, he's trying to figure out what's wrong with him. So we've had a lot going on, and then of course the house, my buyer's house, the guy scammed him and he didn't exist. The cash buyer for the people that buy in my house, he wasn't real. They were doing the online walkthroughs and open houses. He wasn't real. He had 3 families in our town move out of their homes and put their furniture in storage or on U-Haul trucks, and he never showed up to closing. Even though right at the last minute he said he was going to closing. No. But anyway, another story. Frustrating. I got moved out of the house. All of my staging furniture is moved out of the house. They remade their offer to me again. I accepted it, and I'm giving them another 30 days to try to sell their house. Or longer if they need it. It's not like, one bird in the hand or 2 in the bush, right? But I have got my building permit through this week pretty much, and everything's done. I'm just waiting for someone to call me and tell me that they're ready for me to go pay for it and pick it up. I'm hoping they take their time on it because I was I done put in to pull the building permit. I done, you know, had everybody doing all this stuff. I just went ahead and said in the name, I'm moving forward. I've had a lot of people ask me how I've handled all of this, and I just want you to know that if it weren't for my emergency stocks, I would be so restless right now. But I've been really calm. Been really, for me, all the anxiety I usually have when I got something going on, I thrive on work, and I thrive on, not stress, but I thrive on, I don't know, how would you say it, Daddy? I strive on working hard and getting things done. I have OCD about being accurate on things, and I've been working on that really hard and letting some things go. But, so it's been difficult for me. But, so I understand how you guys feel out there. But I have my faith to lean on, and that really, it has saved me. It has saved me. It's kept me so relaxed. I mean, I just know God's got this. And that's my opinion. You have yours, I have mine. And that's my faith. I'm not rubbing it in your nose. I'm just telling you that's how I get through it. So, but part of my channel is about who I am, and I do share my faith. That's who I am. But I've been prepping for, how long has it been now? 8 years? 8 years of preps. So all the other preps you saw me have, of course, I gave all that away. I like to put things on people's doorsteps. Like my mom, I like to just put stuff. How many times have we run stuff up to her, John? Lots and lots of times. So we've talked about the things that I didn't make, or I didn't make, store, freeze, can, or dehydrate enough of. I needed more of. Meals in a jar and things like that would be on the list of things that I just did not use. I just felt like they went bad quickly. They didn't taste very, I mean, they just weren't up to par as fresh. And when we're home like this, we can make it fresh. We're not out camping. So I felt like that was kind of a waste of product, and I wish that I had kept that in the bags. Wish I'd kept it in the bags. So I made a list of things I would do differently, and these are things I would do differently, or that I would not store as much of. I would not store as much of, and you make your list. Remember I told you yesterday, get your list. Make your list of all the things that you can, and how many pints and things that you have at all times. Make sure that's at the end of the aisle. Make sure that you have what's in each of your aisles, just like, and set it up like a grocery store if you can, if you have that kind of pantry room that you can. But things I had too much of. Well, I definitely had too much gravy mix. I'm glad I gave some of that away, because I had way too much of that. Did not have enough ketchup, had too much mustard. Oh my gosh, there's no way we're going to eat that much mustard. And all those flavored mustards, I would never do that again, especially when you can make your own. Cool Whip. Didn't have enough Cool Whip. I love Cool Whip. Didn't have enough Miracle Whip. Had just the right amount of mayonnaise. So what I'm saying is you got to make your list of the things you did and didn't use, so you'll make the space in your pantry for the things you do need more of, for the things you do need. And you'll want to keep a running tally of what's in there. Right now we have 180 eggs in the refrigerators outside. I'm not counting the ones that I froze, and there's still more coming in. So yeah, so we eat a lot of egg products, but eggs are good for you. They really are. Remember the incredible edible egg? Well, then they ditched the egg for a while, and then now they're advertising eggs again. I've always said eggs are a good way to lose weight. They're a good way to maintain your weight, and I'm back on eating eggs again. They're a good source of protein, and with my heart issue, they're a good source of protein. And they're cheap. They're cheap. Rice, beans, eggs, ketchup, cheap. All right, so you don't have to be a gourmet chef. You don't have to be a gourmet chef to prep. Prep your favorite foods and find a way to make it. Sorry, I said that twice. Find a way to make them when they're powdered, if that makes sense. Like powdered cheese instead of fresh cheese, or wax your cheese like your hard cheeses, and they'll last a long time. All right, in your grains, get whole grains like whole wheat, berries. You know, in the berries, that'll last in a 5-gallon bucket a long time. But once you grind it into flour, I have to keep my flour stored after about a couple of months. I have to keep it stored in the freezer. I just go ahead and throw it in the freezer. It's my best bet, so it doesn't pick up the flavors in the cabinet anyway. What I did not store enough of was baking soda, vinegar, Alcohol, I couldn't believe I was out of alcohol. And because I was supplying for someone else, and my mom uses it to rub on her neck because she's so sore all the time. So I gave my alcohol away. And peroxide. I was still able to get peroxide, but I didn't want to hoard it, so I only grabbed 2 bottles at a time. But there was times I had a chance to get it. But the alcohol, I regret not grabbing it when I had a chance. But again, there's other people with babies and things that, you know, they need it to go around the little baby umbilical cords and stuff. I picture that, and people that have cuts and things. I mean, people need things, so why hoard it? Take what you really will use in a month or 2, and you can always go back and get it. What I didn't have was enough Clorox wipes. I had other brands and different things, but I wish I'd had the Clorox wipes. I think they worked better. But I ended up making my own. I like that better. So, and I'm going to be posting a video on how to make your own handy wipe Clorox pull-up wipes. Okay, so keep your containers. When you run out of them, keep your containers, because I'm going to teach you how to make your own, and you're going to like them even better. I don't know, I just feel more secure having the bleach and the soap in it, I guess. But molasses for brown sugar, I stored way too much of that. I didn't need that. I probably went through 2 jars in a year, every year. And so why did I have 10 jars of it? Yeah, and it stores forever. It's one of those forever foods. So sugar, molasses, salt, that kind of thing, those are part of your forever foods. And we're gonna do another video on forever foods, okay, and how you store them. I've had people asking me, will I please do videos on how to store all kinds of stuff and how I store them in jars, or, you know, what I vacuum seal, what I dry oven can, what I freeze. I'm going to do a video on that. So hold on your horses. I am going to do a video on that this week. What I did not have enough of was ground beef. What I had too much of was, believe it or not, steaks. Nobody here is eating them. I just feel like maybe it made me feel guilty eating steaks. I don't know. But baking powder. I did not have enough baking powder. Did not have enough baking soda. But I had way too many pouches of taco and brown gravy mixes. Oh my goodness. So anything that was bought at the store in a pouch or a packet or in a box, we had too much of. We didn't need it. So I'm going to put it in a tote, and I'm going to leave some of that on somebody's doorstep that needs it. Powdered milk. I was able to get my hands on 2 great big bags of powdered milk before this happened. And I had it in storage, and it's still good for quite a while. And I thought, should I bottle it up like I did the others, or should I give it away? I mean, I still have jars and jars of canned vacuum sealed milk. So what I did is I gave the jars of vacuum sealed milk to family members, so that way I knew I'd get my jars back. So I gave away the older and kept the fresh. That way the older, it's like rotating your stock. You want to rotate. So don't give away the fresh, give away the older. Make sure that somebody's going to use it, and give it to them in small amounts so you know that they do use it and they don't throw it away. What I didn't store enough of was onions and garlic and things like that, bulb plant type items. I didn't store enough of that. Bread machine items, believe it or not, I believe I packed too much of that. I think I had too much of the bread machine stuff. Deodorant, we have plenty of deodorant. So beans. Alright, beans was another thing. We had way too much beans. We didn't eat that much beans. Don't store that much beans. It may be a cheap meal, but you get tired of beans, okay? Pastas, did not store enough pastas. I know it should be the opposite, but I'm a pasta eater, so pastas was something that I missed. Alright, so let's talk about setting your clock and checking your stocks. In emergencies such as tornadoes, floods, storms, earthquakes, or even disease outbreaks like this one, they can happen unexpectedly, like I said. And you may be without, and in this case, we were not without electricity. We were not without refrigeration. We were not without clean tap water or phone service for days or weeks. But in some cases of flooding, tornadoes, and other preps, we don't just prep just for pandemics. We prep for other things too. Seeds, in case your government starts taking your seeds in your gardens from you. Boy, it didn't take them long for them to do that, a couple weeks. So I'm just saying that we prep almost for rebellion type situations, okay? So to call yourself a prepper, you have to be prepared for any situation, and I mean mentally and physically, okay? You've got to be prepared. It helps with the panic. It helps stop the panic. So now you're going to ask me, what should I put in my emergency preparedness stockpile? What should I put in my emergency preparedness stockpile? Well, you should have some sort of a canner, a pressure canner, and a water bath canner. You should have canning jars and canning lids, and you should have a backup generator or something to run a refrigerator and a freezer. In case the grid goes down and that's all the food you've got, you at least want to keep it, right? So you want to keep it going. And remember, a lot of people don't understand this about long-term or short-term food storage, okay? You want to eat what goes bad first. So you'll want to eat your fresh first, or get it in a jar. Get it canned up. If you make soup, make extra and get it in a jar. Save it, okay? So you can eat it later. Save it. That also saves on propane or gas or electricity as well. My daughter made and thawed my chili. See, I made a big vat of chili and thawed it, and now 3 weeks later we're having a little thing of chili. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you've enjoyed this series of just to jumpstart you. This is just to jumpstart you, this series. I think, what I make, 6 videos, 7 videos? It's just to jumpstart you so you get some quick tidbits on how to prepare for an emergency. And I know I've got other videos that go more deeper into it, but these are just some checklists and some ideas and some tips. All right, we want to thank you for joining us. I don't want to stand here and rattle on, so I want to thank you for joining us. I want you to be sure and hit that like button, show your support, share with others down below some of your tips and tricks. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, we're not just about teaching, we're about learning as well. And everybody down below is learning something, or they're learning from someone else down below when I'm not around. So I do need you down there commenting and answering people's questions if you can as well. A lot of you are starting to do that, and I really appreciate it. With the house going up and the move and the baby and everything else, I haven't had time to do it. So you guys have been wonderful. You're my little angels, my Pendleton angels, and you've been coming through. I want to thank you for joining us. Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We love you. Go with God. Christ that's my faith. It is my rock. Life is about, God doesn't want us to be unhappy. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to be successful. But we have to give him the credit where credit's due. And this is, I think, what's going on with the world. I think they're not doing that. And I know that the Lord had me prepare for a reason. And don't say, well, he didn't have me prepare, am I not saved? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's having us bring in the harvest. The harvest is being reaped. And I'm telling you, you'll want to be reaped. Not raped, you want to be reaped. You'll want to be reaped in the harvest. You'll want that harvest to include you. You don't want to get left behind. So anyway, we love you. Go with God. And if you have a suggestion for a video you want me to make, or questions that you still have, be sure and leave that comment down below, okay? We still have to talk about the water filtration system. Like I said, I just get the Berkey, and it makes it easy. I don't got to add bleach to the water. I don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, it takes the chlorine out of the water so that I can cook with it and make kefir. I can make yogurts. I can make stuff with that water because I don't have to leave it out for 24 hours to get rid of some of the chlorination and the chlorides. Chlorides. Which is it? Chloramides. I think it's chloramides in the water. So anyway, whatever your city uses, I think ours uses chlorine. It's really strong here in Westfield. So anyway, we'll talk about that, and just look for filtration systems. It was the charcoal system. My Berkey, I love it. It holds about 4 gallons, and that's what we use. And I got the big one, and the water in there lasts all week. To do a sponsorship video, because I've done them before, but they told me they didn't like the first video that I did, and it wasn't good enough. So I told them through night, and I threw my through night flashlight out in the trash can. Don't tell me I'm not good enough for you. I didn't do good enough. I will never do it a second time. You get my honest review. If you don't like my honesty, then don't ask me to review your product. It is that simple. I only tell people what I think. If it doesn't, and I told them nice things. But, yeah. So if you don't like my reviews, don't ask me to do a review. Because my angels deserve only the best. And honestly, I don't want them spending their money on anything that they don't like. And why would I try to sell you something in an emergency like this? That's just a waste of money. Wouldn't do that. So, yeah, wouldn't do that. So anyway, we love you. Go with God. Blessings. Remember, our little homestead. Subscribe. And I'll cover whatever subject that you want me to cover. So if you still have more questions on the other videos, or if you still have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm right here. And John is downstairs eating. I can hear him. I better go catch up to him. He'll eat my half.